we live in an amazing technological age. So, because I'm kind of wondering, what am I going to look like when these bandages come off? And through the magic of AI, I'm able to see what it's going to look like when the bandages come off. And here it comes. And there it's going to be. So can hardly wait. All right, then. And welcome to Thursday Night Blather. You guys, 2 people watching live, you get to see everything. So the bandages came off. And as you can see, something is... I can't know my left from my right. It's weird because I look at myself on the monitor and it's not a mirror image. It's anyway, so obviously it's on that side. You can see it. I'm not going to go close up. It's a little gross. It's kind of gross. It is getting better. When the bandages first came off, I'm like, shit, I'd rather look like Herman Munster. But no, it's not as bad. You know, it's getting not as bad as it was. Stitches are out. Bandage came off Wednesday. Went to work. Nobody quit their jobs. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I go for another one of those procedures over here on my temple on August 4th, which is good because I'll have an automatic follow-up on the nose thing. We'll see what happens. He told me that he took 3 times as much out of my nose as he replaced with graft. So it's going to look weird at best. But anyway, blah, blah, blah. I'm here to blather about other stuff. What was I going to open with tonight? Oh, but tonight, let's see what we're going to get into it. We're going to bring back the dipshit of the week. Long awaited, long requested, long missing dipshit of the week. We'll get to that at the end of the show. We talk about the Wolf of Wall Street tonight. We're going to talk about how to get out of going to a wedding. I'll touch on Epstein if I have time, but I actually have breaking news. I think about this thing. I'm trying. I got my tiny little audience, but I love my little audience. I love my Blatherverse. It's precious to me. The people who watch live, the people who watch later. I'm getting good at editing. You watch this thing live, you can see a lot of, and I'm able to cut out the. I made 18 cuts to last week's video, and I still wasn't happy with it. So anyway, I actually have breaking news. You watch these podcasts, and it's just regurgitation. Nobody's saying anything you haven't heard before. But I dare say to both of you watching, I'm going to tell you something you don't know because I didn't know 10 minutes ago. I just heard about this when I went on the air. So let's talk about 11:30 p.m. late night, then, now, and where it's going to be. So late night, oopsie, I've got the wrong, yeah, okay. They changed the icons on the bottom of StreamYard on me, and it's taking me a little bit of time to readjust. So here we go. This is what late night looked like several years ago.
I just don't think that there was any. It wasn't really called for to do. I could have been killed, and I could have had my neck broken.
But on the other hand, I mean, nobody actually forced you into the ring.
That's right. I don't come out here and try to do stand-up comedy or anything like that. I'm a wrestler. You're a comedian.
If you were the man that you think that you are, then you'd apologize. You're the man that you think that say you are. Because you're always talking about being a sportsman and how you're such.
I never say anything about being a sportsman.
Let me.
Well, I thought you're an professional athlete. You're always talking about sportsmanship, and sportsmanship isn't just to go in the ring. And if it's a professional
you're a
sport,
comedian. You should stay telling jokes.
Sport. Like you don't have to go in the ring. Yeah, well, I was going in the ring, and it's something that I was doing, and it was no reason to hurt me.
Right? It's not a joke.
As a joke, yeah.
It's not a joke.
Well, it wasn't. It wasn't a joke to me.
Did you laugh after when you were laying in the hospital? Was a joke then?
No, it wasn't. But there wasn't any reason to purposely hurt me. You could have proven the point by just beating me. You want to prove what a big man you are.
Let me just clear up one point here. There are a lot of people watching who probably view wrestling as being a show, a display, a demonstration, and this may be as the pinnacle representation of that. It was this thing fixed or rigged? Are you guys really friends? Was it a
No,
scam?
not at all. I couldn't warm up to this guy. We were cremated together. You know, he is a wimp. That's exactly what he thought. That's what he thought about wrestling. He thinks it's all a big joke, a big fix, or whatever. And then you're right. There are a lot of people that think that.
You're nothing but a redneck.
Well, there's
And you're just trying to prove a point because I was a Yankee and I heard this from so many people in Memphis. I was going down there and because you
there are a lot
believed
of
all that
people,
stuff
like I
that
said,
I was
there are a lot of people that think that, and he was one of them.
Mhm.
And I did to Andy
And you're
exactly
lucky
what I
that I
would
didn't
like to
sue
do
you,
to
my
everybody
friend.
that thinks that
You're
way.
lucky I
because
didn't sue
It
you.
was,
Yeah.
it was a chance to show him exactly what
Would
it's
you
really
now,
like.
if
And
there
he
were,
found out what
would
it's
you?
really
Because
like.
let me tell you something. My father said, my manager said, they all said that I had a right. I could have gotten a lawyer and I could have sued you for what you did, and I didn't. And all I want is an apology. Even you asked me last time I was on your show if I was going to have a
That's
lawsuit,
right,
and I could have sued you. I could have sued you for everything you're worth.
Well,
and I didn't because I'm not that kind of a guy.
yeah. You know what?
What kind of a
you're-
guy are you?
No, you're not the kind of guy
I'll just be over here. We're going to
as far as
pause
I'm
here for
concerned, you know,
station
I-
identification. Get the hose
What's
out
the
here.
So that was late night back then, back in the day, and we all stayed up to watch David Letterman. But he was replaced, at least 6 years ago, maybe 8, 9 years ago, by another person who made late night look like this. Bear with me. Yeah. So talk about a show going downhill. I mean, wow, the difference between David Letterman and Stephen fucking Colbert is unbearable. However, I have breaking news. I just heard this a few minutes before I went on the air tonight, and I scrambled to get those two clips at the last minute. I'm sure I could have found something, but check this out, people. CBS to cancel Late Show with Stephen Colbert. Oh no! Citing financial decision. So bye-bye, Stephen Colbert. Wow. And he was really, 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 really bad. Really, really bad. I hate going to weddings. I do. I hate going to weddings. And I'll take big measures to get out of going to weddings, cross country, this, that. It's too far. I'm busy. But like I said, I don't like going to weddings. I really don't. And then people get married. It's out of politeness you get invited. A child of your cousin gets married. Once you go to all your cousins' weddings. Your aunts and uncles came to your wedding. Your cousins came to your wedding. Cousins' kids start getting married. It's a little bit, maybe. Anyway, so in the last several years, 3 of my cousins' children got married. I was invited to the weddings, and one of them was on the East Coast, so that was out. I didn't go to the one on the East Coast, but one of them was kind of local here, and I was invited. I was going. I really want to go. Came up with the best explanation, reason. We call it what you want. I said, "Look, you're getting married. I'd love to see you. And I'm really, really happy for you getting married. You found a great girl, a great woman, whatever. All the happiness. And I do plan on giving you a nice gift. And I do want to see you. But if I see you at the wedding, you're going to be seeing 100 other people at the same time. We're not going to spend any real quality time together. So instead of me coming to the wedding, why don't we go to dinner and we could spend some real time together and I can give you my gift." Kate was here. Glad to see you, Kate. Sorry you couldn't stay at the farmer's market. Good luck. Get some good stuff. Anyway, so yeah, you say to the person, I gotta close my view of the comments because I get way too distracted. So I'm closing my view of the comments, and I'll look at them later and respond all at once. So yeah, let's have a nice dinner. So I did that with a cousin on my father's side of the family, and I did that with a cousin on my mother's side of the family. Another cousin on my mother's side of the family, it was just too far. Life was too complicated. Couldn't do it. So it's all good, right? There's only one little problem. We still haven't had that dinner. So that's on me. That's on me. But really, on paper, it's a great excuse. The only thing is you can't be like the blathering boomer. You got to actually follow up and take these guys to dinner. And so this will be reminded to myself. Cousin Jamie, Cousin Sam, I owe you dinner. I love both of you. I want to see both of you. I'm sorry, Jamie. I know you got married like 7 years ago, but I still want to take you to Art's Deli in the Valley if they're still there. We'll get a couple of Reubens, some potato latkes. Cousin Sam, the son of my immortal cousin Eddie. I'm sorry I missed your wedding. I'm glad I met your bride. That was on the East Coast, and Steph and I were really thinking about going out there and doing a upstate New York trip. I got a couple of places I want to visit up there. It just couldn't happen. It didn't happen. I did the same thing with Sam. I did the same thing with Jamie. I owe both of you guys dinners. I do. I want to sit down with you and do the visit. Anyway, blah blah blah. So that's how you get out of a wedding. So my lawyer's been bugging me to watch The Wolf of Wall Street, 2013 movie. It's one of those movies that has no good guys. It's pretty wacky. It's a Scorsese movie with Leonardo DiCaprio. I'd never seen it. My lawyer every year or two just, hey, I've seen The Wolf of Wall Street yet? Seen The Wolf of Wall Street yet? Had lunch with him last week. Seen The Wolf of Wall Street yet? He calls me up on the phone. I just don't want to listen to it anymore. So I finally started watching The Wolf of Wall Street, and it awakened some interesting memories. So I'm going to show you a scene from The Wolf of Wall Street, and here it comes.
You wouldn't be saying to me right now, Chester, pick me up a few thousand shares of Disney on the spot right now. Come on.
I mean, honestly, Kevin, honestly, seriously?
I don't know you. You cold called me. You're a total stranger.
I am in complete agreement with you. You don't know me. I don't know
Take a
you.
moment to introduce myself to you. My name is Alden Kupferberg.
Robbie Feinberg.
Chester May.
I'm Senior Vice President at Stratton Oakmont.
And I plan on being one of the
top brokers of my firm next year. And I'm not going to get there by being
I
long-standing.
do want to say that you sound like a pretty sincere guy.
It's not going to make you rich, and it's not going to make you poor. But what this trade will do is serve as a benchmark for future business, Kevin.
Do you feel comfortable with me now, Scott?
And then you'll know for sure that you finally found a broker on Wall Street that you can trust and who can consistently make you money. Sound fair enough?
Yeah. I gotta say, I'm pretty impressed. I don't know. What are you thinking?
Kevin, you give me one shot here on a blue chip stock like Kodak. And believe me, Kevin, the only problem you're going to have is that you didn't buy more. Sound fair enough?
Shit, my wife might divorce me, but yeah, let's do it. Oh, yeah.
That hit home. When I first went into business, I must have been on some kind of list. I got that phone call so many times. I don't want to exaggerate and say I got it daily, but it was several times a week for a long period of time. And I would just parry them off. I had not seen The Wolf of Wall Street, as we've established. I have a half an hour to go. So please, no spoilers in the comments. I'm rooting for the FBI guy right now, and I don't know how it ends. So please, no spoilers in the contents. I don't want to know how it ends. That scene's not a spoiler. I mean, that's kind of what the movie's about. It's these highly aggressive brokers that are setting you up. That whole thing about the blue chips they're talking about, that's a setup to get to where they really hose people. So I'm getting these phone calls. I'd seen the movie The Boiler Room, and it sounded just like the guys in The Boiler Room. I should have come up with a clip from The Boiler Room. It's kind of the same thing, though. So I'm parrying them off. Sometimes I keep them on the phone for a while just just to entertain myself on a boring day. But for the most part, it was always the same thing. I can make you this, I can make you that. I didn't want any part of that. My feeling was and is, if their advice is that good, why don't they invest their own money? And maybe they do, but they don't anyway. So I'm all proud of myself. I'm getting to this. All is going to lead to the dip shit of the week. Backed by popular demand, the dipshit of the week. This story that starts with me watching The Wolf of Wall Street sets up the dipshit of the week story. So that's one thing. That's one piece of background information. Next piece of background information. On June 11th, 1989, I checked in to a recovery house called Bet Teshuva in LA. Long story about that. Lots of stories about that. I'll tell different aspects of the story about that. Real quickly, I drive down from Berkeley. I was living in Berkeley, and I found a rehab recovery house in LA, Bet Teshuva, on 213 South Lake Street, just down the street from MacArthur Park. I drive down. I find the place. I look at the place. I don't even park my car. Gone. Drove around for a while. I'm in LA. I never lived in LA before. I don't know where I'm going. So obviously I go back to the house. I park the car. I get out. I start crossing the street. I turn around. I get back in my car. I drive away again. Rinse and repeat. Third time I actually went in the house. It was a big house, probably meant for maybe 8 people to comfortably live. There were 24 of us. So I was in the room they called 9800, 9500, whatever it was, the Lop Haven, the place where the Lapasori live. 5 guys in a room with 4 walls. I had the bed that wasn't next to a wall. So I'm sleeping in the middle of the room. It was something I never ever want to go through again. And addiction and recovery is something I can and perhaps will do an entire episode on, because I've had quite a journey that has involved prison. It has involved recovery. But this is not that story right now, because we are on a road to the Dipshit of the Week award for the first time in many, many weeks. And oh man, I meant to have Grok prepare a certificate. Oh well, there's no certificate. So you'll have to take my word for it when we get to Dipshit of the Week. So I go into Bet Teshuva and I start the recovery process. Let me tell you, recovery is hell. Recovery in and of itself is enough to give you second thoughts about playing out your addiction and playing with rock bottom again. I used to talk about it as achieving depression from the bottom up. In other words, if you work really, really hard for weeks, you can get to the point upwards to where you're totally depressed. So there was a guy there. His name was Jeff L. I'm tempted to say his last name, but I won't do it. And there was a porch there. And before, they'd encourage you to find a job, but not for a while. They wanted you to be there for like 6 weeks before you even ventured out and went anywhere other than to meetings. So we spent a lot of time on the front porch. He was a crack fiend. He's one of those guys that worked his way up the corporate ladder, climbed pretty high up the corporate ladder, and then his use of crack brought him crashing down, led him to do some really, really bad things. And he ends up in Bet Teshuva on an alternative sentencing program. There were 21 guys who were inpatient at Bet Teshuva. 18 were drug and alcohol addicts. 3 were gamblers. He was one of the drug and alcohol people. And probably 16 of the 21 were there on some kind of alternative sentencing situation, because the director, Harriet, had connections with the Department of Corrections. And if you were a Jewish inmate, I mean, it wasn't all Jewish, but it helped being Jewish. if you were in jail for a nonviolent crime and you were an addict, she was very good at getting alternative sentences and having you be in there. So Jeff was one of those alternative sentences. I, on the other hand, was one of the very few people who were there voluntarily. I just needed to check in. I knew that I had a 2-year-old and a 1-year-old, and it was horribly clear to me that if I didn't change my life drastically, I would never be a father to those kids. Again, that's a separate podcast. If you guys want that. So I spent a lot of time sitting on the porch. Revelations, because he's talking about what crack did to him. I'm talking about what gambling did to me. And I was amazed. I didn't think there was that many similarities between drug addiction and gambling addiction, but addiction's addiction, and I went to a lot of generic 12-step meetings in the process. But Jeff and I were particularly bonded, and we had no secrets from each other. He told me the brutal truth of the things he did, and I did the same. And it was helpful. Excuse me. I can cough again. I can cough without worrying about the stitches popping out, because the stitches aren't in anymore. Anyway, he and I were, we were kind of boosting each other up. We were getting better. We both were planning on being there for 6 months. We've been there 5 or 6 weeks, and I was finally nice and actually depressed, actually feeling the things. You start, you get into recovery, all these things that you did in playing out your addiction, whether it's alcohol, drugs, I dare say sex, gambling, any of it, it's all burying the underlying issues. And when you stop doing the behavior, you get to deal with, guess what? Your underlying issues. So that's, once you've dealt with your underlying issues to a certain extent, congratulations, you've achieved depression. And Jeff and I helped each other get there. So this was the guy I really trusted. He and I left Beth Teshuva around the same time. We both got jobs in the real world. I, in my recovery and turning all my addictive energy towards my company. In 5 years, I went from driver to owner. That's a couple of podcasts by itself, but that just, to sum that up, when you turn that energy into something positive, amazing things could happen. And amazing things were happening for Jeff also. So we stayed in touch. We'd visit each other. We a couple of times, you're trying to run a business and run short of capital a couple of times. He loaned me money at interest, but interest that was acceptable, no big deal. He was moving up. He had this really, really important job at Sports Chalet in their finance department, accounting department, whatever it was. But he always had one foot in the stock market, and I know nothing about stocks. I've proven that more than once. So I parry off all of those Wolf of Wall Street / boiler room phone calls from these overly aggressive brokers who think they know enough to make me a lot of money, and I just want to run my company. And I'm all proud of myself. And along comes Jeff with an IPO, company called Meganet, some kind of internet security thing. This is it's early 2000s. I can't pinpoint what year it was. But he talked me into putting $15,000 into their stock because he convinced me that they were going to have an IPO, which is initial public offering, and that my $15,000 was going to be worth at least $75,000, if not more. Now, mind you, I wasn't gambling, or maybe I just started gambling again. And that's a whole separate conversation. Because like, oh my God, he went to rehab and he's gambling again. Bookmark that page because we'll get back to that. I have a lot of responsibilities in my life that I didn't have back in the day, and my entire life is different than it was. Anyway, he comes along with this IPO, and I gave him $15,000 and I got a stock certificate and this and that. It was all bullshit. It was total bullshit. It was a scam. He got me. He fucking got me. Couldn't believe it. Really could not believe it. So, obviously, the dipshit of the week is me. It's me. I should have known better. I should have known, but yeah, I should have known better. It's like it's your best friend that gets you. The sometimes the people you trust the most are the ones who fuck you the hardest. So bye-bye, Jeff L. I just again, after pairing off all those phone calls, I was so proud of myself, and I got hit where I was vulnerable by somebody I trusted. Oh well. I got see that brown. I'm color coordinated. I want to keep it all blue in the background there. All right, I got a whole bunch of other things to talk about. Oh yeah, so the Epstein thing. Yeah, obviously. So again, you watch this show, you're not going to hear very much. You can't hear it on dozens of other podcasts, but I'll give my own spin on things, here and there. So I'll do a quick thing about the Epstein thing. Then I'm going to get into White Lotus. Any of you 4 people? I'm going to look at my comments in a minute and see if any of the 4 people watching live watch White Lotus, which I binge watched season 3 last week, and I have a clip that I want to play from that is very pertinent to life in post 2016 America. But let me talk about the Epstein thing. Let me get that out of the way. So there's extremes on this thing. One extreme, I'm hearing that there are so many powerful people on the list, or whatever it is. It's not a list. It is a list. It's not a list. There's a woman in prison right now, Ghislaine Maxwell, who's doing 20 years for trafficking. There are victims left and right coming forth saying that they were taken advantage of when they were underage. How could there be victims and no criminals? And Ghislaine Maxwell isn't the one who molested these girls. So something's up. Something's got to be up. And if nothing's up, well, let me come to that conclusion in a minute. So on the one extreme, like I say, you got people on that list, people that were on the plane, people in the flight logs, whatever you want to call it, world leaders and the like. And if that so-called list were to come out, all of them would need to step down, step away, step this and that. They'd be gone. Gone. Which would result in a huge power vacuum, which would be filled by opportunists, likely more evil than those who they replaced. And on the other extreme, we're being told there's no list. The whole Epstein thing is just a partisan-driven hoax, undeserving of further conversation. So I don't know. You don't know. Some people do know. Some people. Alan Dershowitz, sure as shit, says he knows. People just want the truth, and I know stonewalling when I see it. And Trump's response to being asked a question about it was pathetic. And I could say that Trump was pathetic because the people who think that Trump could do no right are extremely annoying. But the people who think Trump could do no wrong are arguably equally annoying. The man is flawed. He is. I voted for him. And we're going to get to that in a minute because I want to talk about what life is like when people find out you voted for Trump. And I don't regret my vote, even with this. But so I feel that, it's not unsupportive to criticize somebody when you think somebody's doing something wrong. Trump needs to back off on the position he's taking. He's not going to brazen his way through this. People are not going to let go. He ran on exposing the bad guys. And personally, I don't think he's guilty of any sex crimes or anything like that. And people wonder, why other administrations didn't release the list. It's because depravity is not partisan. There were depraved Republicans, there were depraved Democrats, and Who knows who's on that list? But I guarantee it's not all just one party or the other. You know, assuming it happened, which seems like a pretty safe assumption. So release it. You know, get it out there. We can handle the truth, and if this thing blows up the entire ruling class internationally, and you have Kim Jong-un stepping down, and you have Xi Jinping, and you have Nikita Khrushchev. Well, no, not Nikita Khrushchev, but Vladimir Steinberg in Russia, whatever his name is, the Zelensky. They all stepped down because they all went to Epstein's Island. I'll take my chances. I'll take my chances on opportunistic assholes stepping in and getting the perverts out of the way and maybe locked up. I have 5 granddaughters, and a daughter, and an amazing girlfriend, and sister and cousins, and I like women. I support women, and when women are wronged, we all need to step up. This is Me Too on WWF level steroids. Fuck the World Wildlife Federation, by the way, taking away the World Wrestling Federation's logo, acronym. WWF will always be the World Wrestling Federation. God, I digressed. Okay. So I want to share with you a scene from the TV show White Lotus, because this is particularly poignant for those of us who perhaps voted in a way that was objectionable to the people in our circles.
I get a lot out of going to church. I love the people. It's very moving.
I didn't know you went to church.
Oh, yeah. We go every Sunday. Yeah, ever since we moved to Austin.
Is it like a real Texan church? Like with Bible thumpers and...
Well, the people are, more conservative than like LA people or like New York.
Mm-hmm. Is that weird for you?
Why would it be weird?
I don't know. If I was just around a bunch of Texans who voted for Trump, I guess I'd just feel a little alienated.
They're nice people. Really good families.
Cool. But do you ever talk politics with them?
Sometimes.
Doesn't get awkward?
Why would it?
Because. Wait. Are you a Republican?
No.
Okay.
I'm an independent. But Dave is.
An independent? Mm-hmm. Since when?
You didn't vote for Trump, though, did you?
Are we really going to talk about Trump tonight?
So
good.
Yeah, I thought it was a fascinating exchange. Alice, I'll let you go off on any thoughts you have, and I got a couple questions for you.
Yeah, so the whole premise of this show is like you're going to a really wealthy resort and you have this spotlight into all these different families or groups on vacation, and just like the problems that are within these different groups and how they play out over the course of their vacation. So every season kind of focuses on new characters. This group of 3 friends who have been friends since like high school or college or something and haven't really spent much time together as adults is a really interesting one, because there are all these adult women who kind of are getting to know each other, and there's a lot of gossiping about each other behind their backs, and obviously they don't know that their one friend may have voted for Trump in the last election. And I think it's really resonating with people all over because, gosh, haven't we all been in a situation like this? Now, what's funny,
I for one have been in situations like that many times over, and there there it is. It's like, come on, people. Yeah, and I'm not going to say, in fairness, no nothings. I don't hear this coming from their direction. Oh my God, you didn't vote for Harris, did you? You didn't vote for Biden, did you? And when I voted for Obama twice, I didn't get from Republicans, oh my God, Well, actually, from one Republican, I did, but for the most part, no. People didn't care whoever. So it's why I think we need. I was talking last week about how Elon Musk wants to start this third party. We need a second party because that's how how depraved the Democrats have become. Not only do they give us crappy, unelectable candidates, and don't even get me started about the New York City mayor race. And I have a solution for that. By the way, I have a solution for the entire problems of New York City and the country. I'm going to get to that in a second. I'm going to get to it now. I'm going to get to it now because I forgot what I was going to say, and I might as well say this thing. I know how to make everybody happy. I know how to make everybody happy. I think Trump should immediately resign the presidency. Stay with me, and run for mayor of New York City in the 2025 election. Okay, I absorb that for a second. Everybody's going to love that. The people who hate Trump are going to be glad that he dropped out. The people in New York City, he'll get elected. He'll get elected in New York City. I mean, he'll bully Cuomo and Adams and Sliwa into dropping out and supporting him, a bully or bribe, or he'll do whatever he's got to do to make the deal, and he'll be the mayor of New York. He'd be a great mayor. Whatever I think or don't think of his presidency, I think he'd be the best mayor since Ed Koch. I still consider Ed Koch. Ed Koch was such a good mayor that I still consider him to be the mayor, and he's been dead for like 20 years. That's how good I like Ed Koch. Donald Trump would be the best mayor of New York City since Ed Koch. Okay, well, let me see if there's any comments. I'm not thinking there will be because I only got a few people watching. No, just Kate said she couldn't stay. That's okay. I do want to share the state of comedy. You got this idiot Dave Smith going around calls himself, his handle is Comic Dave Smith. If you gotta, it's like Tywin said to Joffrey in Game of Thrones. If you have to call yourself, remind yourself people that you're the king, then you're no king. And if you have to have Comic Dave Smith in your Twitter handle, you're no comic. So you're just a blathering anti-Semite moron. And one might think the comedy's dead. But I got a clip last week from Ellen from Brooklyn, and I do want to share some actual decent comedy. So let's get that out of the way.
Why you need a nuclear weapon? No, it's just because we think like nuclear, it's like the future, and we just want to have it. We're not gonna do anything bad about it. Okay, what do you think about America and Israel? Death to America and Israel. So what, in the nuclear? No, just we want the nuclear. We had a war, regular war, chill. And then all of a sudden, war that happened during the war, we advanced to the war with Iran. They waked everyone up to tell them, hey, we attacked Iran. Wake up. Why? Wake them up. We are the one that attacked them. Why are you waking us up? When they attack us, wake us up. Yes, that's how you do. But hey, wake up. Why? We attacked them. So I was like, what? What is going on here? Who attacked who? And then 4 days after, Israel started to do rescue flights. I happened to be in Manhattan. I looked for a rescue flight to get back to Israel. We are the only, I love us. I tell you something. We're the only people in the world that will rescue themselves to a war zone. It was even, so you try to book the flight and no flights because all the country want to rescue themselves into the war. Not a war in the war. We want to rescue ourselves. 2 wars, one inside of each other. Babushka war, we wanted to rescue ourselves into that war. No flights, but I found one flight. $2,500, not business. Why it's so expensive? Hey, you want to go to the wall? This is it's cost more.
All right, that was. I like to play Rappaport sometimes. I figure I'd get somebody a little less edgy. But hey, there you got a guy actually telling jokes about his country that's at war. All right. Well, while he was talking, my phone was ringing off the hook. My text messages were coming through. I got emails. A carrier pigeon landed on my roof, all with the same message. Hey, Blathering Boomer, what are you doing? You can't award yourself the Dipshit of the Week award. You just can't. It's corrupt. Well, I care deeply about my Blatherverse, the Blatherverse. And so I came up with a plan B. I do have a plan B. There is, so I am going to change the Dipshit of the Week award. I am going to wrestle it away from myself and give it to somebody arguably more deserving than I. And let's hear from this guy.
I'm a nurse. I'm a pacifist. Allow us to march to Gaza. We're peaceful people. We're good people.
So there he is. He's a nurse. He's peaceful people. They're good people, and they want to march to Gaza because they're good people and they're peaceful people. Let's see what else about this Lee Evans character is true.
So death to the IDF. Death to the IDF. I'm a nurse. I'm a pacifist. Allow us to march to Gaza. We're peaceful people. We're good people. So death to the IDF. Death to the IDF.
I had to show that twice. So Lee Evans, was that his name, Lee Evans? I think it was Lee Evans. Whatever your name is, Lee the nurse, Lee the Welsh nurse with the megaphone. You are this week's Dipshit of the Week. Oh, this was a short one tonight. I just didn't have a whole lot to talk about. Again, I could talk about the news. I could talk about events, and I always want to push back on the anti-Semitism because I do think that's important. I want to at least mention, and I'm sorry I didn't have anything prepared about Bangladesh. The atrocities continue there. It's horrible. It's a true humanitarian crisis, and the press is not covering it at all. At all. I'm grateful to Safulov, who came on this podcast with me several times and really laid out what's going on there. And it hasn't gotten better. I dare say it's gotten worse. So, I do suggest you look it up, Google it, look at some of the old podcasts. But there's nasty, nasty stuff happening in Bangladesh, and it's not necessary. And shame. Not just shame on the mainstream media, because I expect the mainstream media to only cover what they feel like covering. There's no money in this, but shame on the independents. The virtue, especially the virtue signaling independents that scream about a genocide that's not happening in Gaza and ignore a genocide that is happening in Bangladesh. Shame on you. Shame on you. Absolutely. All right. Well, this is a short one tonight. Like I said, I appreciate all four of you who sat through this. Might not have been at my best tonight. I'm still kind of freaked out about the nose. I'm not doing a close-up tonight. You can see something's going on there, but I do think it's getting better. I will not be doing a live stream next week. So watch for me 2 weeks from tonight on the last day of July 31st. It'll be Thursday. I will be doing a live stream, 6 o'clock California time, 9 o'clock Brooklyn time. And there's only one thing left to say. The boomer has blathered.